Yo, and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji. With me is Patrick. How you doing, boy?
Doing well. How are you?
Tired, man. Tired. It's been a long week. And now on top of that, we got to talk about this club, yo. This club. You know what? Let me not spoil it. Let's do the fan introduction. Tell us your name, your Twitter handle, the club that you're representing tonight, and where you're from, and a little bit about what you do.
So my name is Patrick. My Twitter handle is officialshucksbl. I use it. A couple of my friends use it. So not all the banter that is being posted is through me, but a couple of my friends made it so we can join the Genie League. And then I'm originally from New Jersey. I go to school Georgia Tech, studying mechanical engineering, and I'm out in California for the summer interning. So it's been a good summer.
Oh, Cali, baby. Wow. Good weather, eh? Probably better than London right now. It's all cloudy and shit. It's rainy. Like, ain't fun, man. I feel like my summer's over. I might move to Cali.
I would recommend. Besides the taxes, it's good.
I love that you threw your boys under the bus and didn't take full responsibility for all the shit talk that you guys do on Twitter. But listen, it's lighthearted fun. People can't be taking that shit seriously, man. Namesake, yo, banter, like, honestly, right? At the end of the day, we're just here to have fun, enjoy ourselves, right? Play some fan tracks, that sort of stuff. So listeners, welcome to another episode of the Inside Trax series. Today is Chelsea, and it's a special episode for me because I'm a Chelsea fan. If you've been listening to us for the past few seasons, right? So this is an episode that I've looked forward to all summer because we've had a very tumultuous time, and we're gonna definitely dig deep into it, right? So basically, this series has been interviewing fans from each of the 20 clubs in the Premier League, especially those that play the Fantrax game. And the format for these episodes that we've had 3 segments. So basically, we've had a general discussion where we talk about impact of new manager and ownership, and that is so relevant for this episode. Our previous season performance and new season expectations, old system versus new system, basically the impact of new transfers, expected formation and starting 11, impact of AFCON/Asian Cup, and then obviously we're going to talk shop, jump into the Fantrax side of things. We're going to take Patrick's first pick from Chelsea, his next 3 picks, and at least one hidden gem. And then we're going to pick his brain as an experienced Fantrax manager because he's played Toga, so he knows what he's talking about, right? We're going to talk about some draft picks, maybe trading with other managers, how he spends his fab, and just his experience overall. All right, so let's get started. Man, new manager, or should I say managers, right? We had 4 of them last season, bro. Tuchel, Potter, Bruno, and what's his face again?
Lampard.
Right. Lampard, right. You know, I try not to remember that one because it was like the most painful one. Listen, I love my boy Lamps, but he ain't no coach, man. It was tough, man. Like, let's talk about it. Last season was brutal, bro.
First, it makes him getting top 4 a couple years ago look that much more impressive. I don't know how that happened, but
yeah,
I'd say, I'll be honest, I just couldn't watch many games last season. It was hard. It was hard. Like the love for the game was not there. It was no expectations, and then those no expectations I had were still just killed. So.
Yo, I was honestly upset that we didn't get relegated. Like, I wanted some more drama. Like,
no, I think the club would have been in absolute shambles if we got relegated.
Yeah, but like I was genuinely just expecting a loss every day. It's like you said, no expectations. Like, I was like, okay, cool. Like, whatever's happens gonna happen. Like, I either didn't watch our games or I watched another game, watched a different sport, that sort of stuff. It was depressing as a fan, man. It was so painful. So painful.
Yeah, no, it was... You always watch the first game with the new manager, think it's going to be something new, and it wasn't. So after that, stop watching.
Yeah, I mean, do you think the sackings were expected? They were fair, unfair? Because like Tuchel had like a 43% win rate. Potter had a 39% win rate. I mean, we don't talk about Bruno. Lampard had 11% win rate, but Lamps just basically came in to like ease the tension for like the fans, right? That was like a fan sort of appointment. I want to say is like, listen, we're in turmoil. Let's just bring a legend back. So we're gonna be in the shit anyways, but we might as well have someone there to take the bullets for us, right? And Lamps had to do that. But I mean, between Tuchel and Potter, or even both of them, do you think both were fair sackings?
I didn't love the Tuchel sacking. I kind of saw it coming. I just think him and Bowley didn't get along.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of caused it to happen. And then that happening kind of screwed us because his signings are currently the ones kind of, they didn't really pan out. So for his system, so now we have 4 left backs, Raheem Sterling, which I'll get to later, and then Potter. I don't think he's meant for a top 4 club. You gotta give him some time, and these owners clearly aren't giving guys some time. So Lampard, it was just all over by then. Like, didn't even want to. I kind of wanted to see them bring in Poch when Lampard came in to kind of be able to sort through the squad and see who he wants, see who he doesn't like. But I think that will put a lot of scrutiny on him because I don't think you're getting results with the aura in that squad no matter what. And honestly, Bruno Salter wasn't too bad. He won 0-0 tie against Liverpool, so can't hate on him too much. Probably the best manager of the year out of the 4.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, let's touch on the Bowley, right? The change of ownership and stuff like that. What's your thoughts about him? And is there anything, like, in terms of the hierarchy change or club management change that you think the average Fantrax manager should be aware of that might influence a decision, that sort of stuff?
I don't think it's going to majorly affect Fantrax-wise. I think that the one thing I would say is don't jump on these new signings that are like 20, 30 mil, young guys. But for the majority, I don't think it's going to affect the new signings. I don't think Bowley will affect Fantrax too much. Nothing too deep into it. So, but I do got to say, I think his signings have gotten a bit better from when they started. So they've put a little method. The business is interesting with the second loan club in Ligue 1, and it'll be interesting to see how all these 15, 20 mil younger signings pan out. But I think the main squad is just the guys that are pretty obvious.
And a lot of these like long-term contracts as well, right? It kind of reminds me of like contracts that you see in like the NBA and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting. I understand it with guys you're sending out on loan, so you're not coming to issues with, like, say, Colwell. We weren't able to, that was like up in there re-signing him after spending two years on loan. So I think that's good. At the worst, you sell him off. What I really do like is the wages aren't too high. So we had a lot of high wages before. So.
Yeah, we did. So I guess to kind of touch on previous season performance, like a reminder for fans that have forgotten. I doubt people would have forgotten how bad we did, but finished 12th in the table, 44 points. It was our lowest tally since the Premier League was established in 1992. We had a negative goal difference of -9, which was the lowest since 1995. So breaking all the wrong records, really. I'm not sure what to expect next season. I mean, it looks bright with Poch in preseason. The team looks really, really good. Like, new blood, a bunch of old faces out. Obviously, we're going to touch on transfers and stuff in a bit, but what would be your expectation from Chelsea Football Club next season?
I'm hoping for Europa League. I don't love saying that, but I think that's what you gotta expect right now. Anything better, I'll be pleasantly surprised by. But if finish around 5 to 7, that's something. Sadly, that's something I would be pleased with.
I don't know if you saw Enzo came out and said how they challenged him for the title. So I mean that's good to hear, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to say it. You can't go in as Chelsea and say, "Oh, we're hoping for
Top
Europa
four.
League."
Yeah.
Don't. I don't think you should. Can't think too much about that because that's a mindset that's good, but we have to be a little more realistic than
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah. I mean, we're not Arsenal. We're not trying to just get top four every season.
So
Yes. But yeah, okay. So I think let's touch on transfers. So I want to look as far back as the last summer window in terms of the ins because the outs they kind of did come back to the club, a few of them. So let's talk about David Datro Fofana. Really promising talent. He's gone out on loan though now. I saw him already scoring some goals. I wonder like how come we didn't take a chance on him this season, you know?
I completely agree. I was waiting for the lineup to drop, and the 1 week he started, I got him. He put up, I don't know, 6-8 points in one half, and
Yeah.
I just was like, why? I thought Lampard would do his thing and play the young guys.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
He played a few of them, right? Not all of them.
Yeah, but I just can't watch Kai Havertz play striker every weekend. I'm glad I never have to do that one again.
Yeah. I mean, you won't have to watch him do it at Arsenal either, right? He's playing in midfield, so.
I mean, Jesus is injured right now. You never know.
True that. All right, let's.
So I'd love to watch that actually.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Benoit Badiashile. He looks like a real classy centre back, man.
I've really liked what I've seen from him. It was almost a blessing in disguise that he's a little injured to start, because I think that really helped Cowell sign the deal.
Yeah, great point.
But I think that will be interesting to see the competition between those two, because I think those two are our best center backs going forward. In the future, Thiago Silva's getting old. I still think he's great, but I think in the next 2-3 years. So, I mean, I wish you could just play with two left-foot center backs. So we'll see.
I mean, Brentford does it, right? With Ben-Mee and Pinnock, I think, right? So, and they did really well. I mean, obviously they had David Raya in that, but we've got Kepa, can't pronounce your last name, Balaga. So,
and Robert Sanchez now.
Apparently. Yeah, yo, I saw that. That's wild. That's honestly so wild. Okay, Andres Santos. We saw a bit of him in preseason, playing in the middle of the park. Do you think he's gonna be an asset we can consider, or just one for the future?
I don't think Trax wise he's gonna be an asset, but I think we should see him getting some minutes, whether off the bench consistently and in some cup games. So I'm looking forward to. There's some promising stuff from him. He looked really good when he was playing. I think it was like U20 or U21 for Brazil, and we'll see what happens there. I foresee us signing a CDM before the end of the window, so I don't see him starting, but I don't think he's an asset Fantrax wise.
Yeah, that CDM transfer is it's annoying, man. It's taking too long. But we'll see. The window's not closed yet. I think we got until game week 3, game week 4. So time will tell. All right. João Felix came in from Atletico Madrid on loan. I've never seen a player get a red card and still smash the points out. But yeah, what were your thoughts on him? Do you regret us not keeping him?
I don't regret us not keeping him, because I see him as a player similar to, like, position-wise to Nkuku. Where is he playing? Like a cam striker, maybe on the left. But I really did, really like his personality. He loved the club, and he really felt as, he was definitely more of the club this season than some other names that went to other places like his Manchester United or Arsenal. So he was keeping, even after Chelsea said they weren't going to re-sign him, he still had Chelsea in his bio, and he was just always, all of the interviews, he really appeased the fans. So he had a little flair to him that was enjoyable to watch, but I think if Poch didn't want him, I support that. And as I said, Nkuku, and him, I don't think would work together on the field.
Yeah, I think they're somewhat similar players, right? I feel like you kind of need to, I wouldn't say build a team around them, but you definitely need particular profile players to suit their ability and the runs that they make. And I wouldn't say like João Felix did like the most defensive work, that sort of stuff, right? So you kind of need to carry him in that sense. But yeah, I mean, onwards and upwards. Glad for what he did for the club. So big name I want to talk about, and it's definitely a prospect that a lot of Fantrax managers are considering for the upcoming season. Mikhailo Mudryk, coming in from Shakhtar Donetsk.
I think he will be an asset. I've really liked his work ethic, and his speed is incredible. Like, he gets off balance, like a little hesitation, and then just bursts his speed. There were like 1 or 2 clips of him sprinting, and it's just insane. So I think he's pretty raw still, so I think give him some time to develop, but I'm liking more of what I'm seeing now than I was seeing last season. He came on first game as a sub, had a great first game, and then after that, it kind of dwindled down, but it'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to watching him play, hoping he can get a little more direct, and continue putting some contributions. Well, not continue, add some contributions.
Yeah, I mean, he looks good in preseason, right? He had a stunning finish for his goal as well. I think it's not just him, but a lot of our assets, new ones especially, I think it's just the environment that we had at the club last season. Such an unstable, tumultuous time for a lot of people, and especially like a player like him moving into a foreign country where you don't speak the language. Like, it's not going to be an easy transition the first time around, right? So I think Poch's ability to kind of, handle youth players and kind of cultivate them in a sense, because we can kind of touch on Poch maybe a bit later into the pod, like his effect that he had on the other Prem clubs and stuff like that. And I mean, I kind of touch on this in the Chelsea article that I wrote for TDS. Granted, I'm gonna put a massive disclaimer that I wrote this article before preseason, and now I want to burn my article alive because my picks are just nonsense, I think. But I did also do them for the sake of argument and trying to be a little contentious, right? Stir up a little bit of debate, but we'll get to that a bit later. Okay, another bright spark. Won the under 21 Euros with England. Noni Madueke. What are your thoughts about him?
I was really big on him at the end of last season. I really liked what I saw from him coming off the bench, and I really wanted him to start every game, and when he did, he goes really well. Saying that, him being unhealthy for preseason has really thrown a question mark. Like, he was someone I was looking at 5th or 6th round, and now I'm gonna steer a little clear of him. I'm worried about, we'll talk about more positions, but Sterling on the right. But I think if he were to start, I really like him. The one other thing I'd say is he's not that direct of a player. And I can't say yet, but I feel Poch's system is a little more direct. So I kind of got to wait and see how he does in that. And that will interest me, but I do like the promise there. Also, they're still trying to sign like 4 different right wingers. So that is something to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of touch on some of his numbers, Madueke was second highest in Fantrax points in the Lampard part of the season. In terms of like key passes and successful dribbles, when I think you look at it from a per minute perspective, I think he was 6th and 2nd for all Chelsea outfielders. And he sat, I think, 5th in like the ghost points per start of all Chelsea outfielders. So he's got something about him. He knows how to dribble past a player, but his final product last season was lacking, right? Getting into the right spaces, but you got to put in that one-time ball, right? Or take a shot or something like that. I think even though like he scored a goal against Arsenal, it's just that you need that extra, you need to go up like that extra step after you dribble past that person. Otherwise, like, you're just playing, I don't know, like, what the fuck, what are you doing? Like, you're wasting time on the pitch. So, but no, he definitely looks a bright prospect. And he's got a lot of confidence in his ability, and I think Poch could potentially get something out of him. All right, let's talk about Reece James understudy, I want to say, Malo Gusto. He looked solid in preseason, man.
No, yeah, I remember on Twitter someone was doing threads with the new players, and one Leon fan was like, "Oh, he can't defend." Gave him like a 5 out of 10, and everyone was getting a little worried. And I've been very happy with what I've seen in preseason. The defense, 2 big plays, like the big shoulder, and then when the other day, I forget who it was, but they were through on goal. He like cut down the angle, a nice slide tackle. So I've liked that. And I don't think he's really going to start much just because Reece James is looking at Patriot likes him, looking at like captaincy. But I think he is someone I would look to stream when Reece James does start. And I don't want to say it, but he's kind of injury prone. So we'll see if Reece James goes down, I wouldn't mind picking him up, and I'm gonna feel a lot more comfortable than no shame on Aspi, but Aspi was a little past his time starting at right back, so I'm gonna feel a lot more comfortable this year with him as a backup.
You don't think like the lack of European football gives you a bit more confidence in Reece's ability to stay fit?
It does give me some more confidence, but like I think it was at the beginning of the Dortmund game. It was a little dicey. People thought he would get injured, but I think it will help. I'm not gonna pray that. I'm not gonna like say he's gonna stay fit the whole season.
yeah.
Kind of gotta wait and see, because I was huge on him on the back 5 last year.
Yeah,
and that did not pan out.
No,
so.
Not at all. Yeah, I get you. All right, last in that I want to talk about, the world's most expensive midfielder and recent World Cup winner with the Alba Celeste, Enzo Fernandez. Listen, I think if people actually watch football, this man is a baller. His progressive passing is amazing. And honestly, I think we could see the true potential that you saw with Argentina, the impact that he had with Argentina. He pretty much changed the tournament for them, right? Young Player of the Tournament award as well. What's your thoughts about him, not only as a player, but as a Fantrax asset?
Well, I love him, as we were talking about earlier. He's saying the right things in interviews, but not only that, as you said, his vision and passing is great. It's not something we've seen from a center midfielder in a while, since we've had some different styled center midfielders there. And I think with a proper CDM, it's going to help him. Fantrax-wise, I don't think he's going to blow you out of the water still. I think 7-8 points per game. Not ceiling, but like Declan Rice last season can give you 15 every so often, but usually gives you 6 or 7. I do think he's going to get at least 33 starts if he stays healthy. So that's something as a mid-4, mid-5 plug and forget that I'm not going to mind. And as I said, with a new CDM, I think he could push up a little more. Hopefully get 3 or 4 assists, a goal or 2, like 6 or 7 goal contributions. So I would look out for him in the later rounds, but don't reach, because I think a lot of people still will reach on name value. And I've just never been a big fan of midfielders that are box to box or like CDMs, because they just don't put up the most points usually.
Yeah. All right. So I realized we were talking about the January transfers. I had the wrong tab open, but let's talk about the actual summer transfers from last season, and we'll talk about relevant names, right? Raheem Sterling coming in from Man City. He was a player that I mentioned in my article as a player to watch. Again, article was written before preseason. I watched preseason. I want to put him as a player to avoid now because he's not looked great.
I'm not touching him. I don't care. Like, it had to be like 9th round for me to even consider. I haven't seen anything I've liked from him. He has 1 assist, which was some small layoff pass, I'm pretty sure, and it was like awful. All of Chelsea Twitter wants him sold to Saudi, and it's just, I haven't seen anything I liked. At the beginning, I heard Poch had spoke big things of him, so I was kind of hoping I'd see a little improvement, but I haven't seen anything that I've liked. I don't draft him. His ADP is way too low or way too high right now.
Yeah, way too
A lot
high.
of people, I think 4th round. So don't even go there. Like 7th, start considering in the 7th. But he will be off your board. Don't have him be your headache. He's not getting 30 starts. Like, just stay away. I hate him.
Yeah, listen, he's never been a player with ghost points in his locker, and it's such a fall from grace, right, over the past few seasons, because we're talking about a player who scored double-digit goals for maybe 5 of the last 6 seasons. Obviously, like, his last season was shit. But even from like a Fantrax perspective, you can see like the decline of his Fantrax output in a sense, right? All the way back in like the 17-18 season until now, like 505 points, 542, 452, 325, 356, and now 209.5. And I mean, that's also reflected through his fantasy points per game as well, right? So yeah, man, it's a struggle. The thing is, like, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets minutes, because I think he's flexible enough to play any of the 3 positions up front, and Poch will probably use him for his experience and all that. But I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets yanked off here and there, you know, or one in every 5 or 6 game he gets benched, and then eventually second half of the season maybe Poch is like, okay, well, this guy might get sold in Jan, Feb, or whatever, and then yeah, let's move forward with the young kids. But yeah, we were both high on him like last season's episode, right? We were like, okay, a player of quality since Eden Hazard, and you know, maybe it's just Pep worked so much magic that we got blinded. So
it was also like the 5 at the back, he was going to be like an inside forward.
Yeah.
But now, like, yeah, I've seen him playing on the right. I do think he's going to start off the season starting. But I just don't like to think that, okay, he starts on the right, Mudryk starts, Madueke benched. Like, Nkuku was tried out on the left. We'll talk about him when we get to him. But,
yeah.
And then Sterling on the right, and then no Mudryk. I don't want to see Mudryk and Madueke both on the bench each game, and
agreed.
I think Sterling will play, but I don't think it's going to be a long-term asset or a good one in general. So I'd say if he does start out hot, 2 or 3 games, which he won't. But if he does, trade him. So
yeah, it's so frustrating. One of the things I will scream at the screen is like when he tries to dribble through people, like he keeps losing the ball. And then he'll do it a few times and then eventually try and pass the ball and then eventually just give away the ball. Yeah, it's just frustrating, man. Again, I agree with Patrick. Just avoid.
The final third decision making is painful. It's like he's lagging in his head.
Yeah, overthinking. I don't know, man. It doesn't look good. I don't know if we need to touch on one season wonder Kalidou Koulibaly. I don't think we're gonna miss him per se. The hype that he had from Napoli, like, none of it really showed.
No, I mean, it wasn't great, but I do respect how he was very professional, said thank you, like, never complained, very professional goodbyes, so I'll always keep in the back of my heart. It would have been interesting had Fofana gotten injured before they were looking to sell him, what would have happened, because I think that could have been a decent, maybe get some playing time, but no qualms with him. He did his thing, didn't work out, left, never put any stress on the club.
Yeah. He was honest about it. Like, it's about the money for him, right? The man has family, he has responsibilities. Yeah, respect. Like, do your thing, bro. And listen, we got Levi Colwell, so I'm not fretting too much.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting name I kind of want to talk about, and it's maybe more interesting for Dynasty Leagues, but given the recent injury to Nkunku, and to kind of timestamp this pod, we're recording on Friday, August the 4th, Carney Chukwuemeka, or as other people know him as by Carnes, I feel like he could get some minutes this season.
I think, given a CDM is signed, I think it's going to be him or Gallagher starting the season at Cam. And I'm hoping it's him because I've been really impressed with his dribbling. I just don't know if he's a true Cam with all the creativity. But maybe that's the type of person we're looking for. Have 3 solid midfielders. I feel like he's more of a box-to-box. It's interesting because we have so many guys like Santos, people say he's a 6, people say he's an 8. Cassetti, there's just so many guys that we have that could be solid box-to-box midfielders, but we just don't. That's the one place we're locked in for the next 5-6 years with Enzo. But I think keep an eye on him late rounds, 11th, 12th, 13th, as like someone to stream the first couple weeks. But I don't think he's going to be a serious asset. I think it's worth a punt late for the first couple weeks, but don't get attached to him. Be willing to drop him if he's not starting.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you talked about Cassetti. Yo, what a baller, man. He looks so good.
No, I'm disappointed that Leicester want him because the Italian coach. I would have loved to see him in the Premier League. I think his dribbling is great. I think a little work on after the dribbling, get that pass off. But as I said, it's just really interesting to see how these guys, if they're ever going to fit in, or it's more just like buy, develop, sell, which I don't mind, but you kind of get attached to guys once you watch them. So
yeah,
we'll see. Hopefully, if he does go Leicester, hopefully he has a good season. But I've obviously rather seen him in the Prem.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Mark Cucurella. He looks like a vibes guy, yo. Honestly, good for the dressing room, but I don't see any Fantrax value in him.
No, that was also, as I said before, with Sterling, another Tuchel signing. He could play left center back. He could play left wing back. Made complete sense back then. No qualms with it. As the first couple games he came on, he had some sharp passing. And I just don't know what's happened to it now. And as you said, he's been very professional, conducted himself, wants to fight for a spot, which I respect, but I just don't see, with all the left back competition, him as someone to get any time, and I'd be fine if they sell him.
Yeah. I think he lacks a bit of defensive discipline. Like, I would play the likes of Lewis Hall over him. I'd play Ian Matson over him. Like, I feel like there was a goal that we conceded in preseason. I don't know if it was the Almiron one, where he tucked in way too much and he didn't pick up the run. And it's just like, how did you not see him? He's in space. Like, you got to cover that. So I feel like that is what he's lacking to his game. And it's like you said, right? It looks good on paper, but even in terms of the attacking sense, he doesn't have that final third quality like the way Chilwell does, right?
Yeah, no, that exact goal, he jumped and then hesitated, and then Almiron scored, which was a good moment because he scored in the old Atlanta United Stadium.
Yeah.
Couldn't write it better. Stadium's beautiful. I've been able to go a game or two there, but it was just hard to watch from Cucurella because you could just tell he's just a head case there, jumping. Could have gotten the ball if he was really aggressive. Didn't do that, and then it was just one-on-one with the goal. So I don't think we'll see much of him in the near future.
Yeah, agreed. All right, last one I want to touch on. Unfortunate injury. I think he's a great centre-back player, but I mean, listen, if he keeps getting injured, we're gonna have to let him go. The likes of Wesley Fofana.
Yeah, I think he was solid for most part of the last season. I don't know if it was the Real Madrid game, but one of the big Champions League games, he kind of had a stinker and got a lot of stick for it, but that's just a wait and see. I don't think he's going to come back this season. I think it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. I think obviously he's going to get a shot, and I'd love for him to do well, but it's just a shame that he's out for probably a season with the ACL.
Yeah. I honestly wish him the best. I hope he comes back stronger than ever. Because he's definitely one for the future if he's able to stay fit. Okay. One out that I want to kind of touch on in January. Moved to the north of London. Jorginho. Do you miss him?
No. I think wasn't he going on a free this summer anyway?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
So I think getting I understood getting 10 mil for him. Good for him. Go title fight, but I think it was helpful to open up, give some guys some time, and him and Enzo would just not work together. He worked in a back five when we didn't really play with a true CDM. He's not a true CDM. He's not a true 8. He's just kind of does his thing, which he was very good for a while. So got a lot of hate when he was getting ranked so highly in like Ballon d'Or rankings, but I liked him. No terrible qualms with him. Wasn't as annoyed to see him go to Arsenal as some other people going to Arsenal and Man U. So I would not have seen any place for him in the squad this season. So
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Let's talk about this summer window. I would say it's been one of the most emotionally exhausting transfer windows I've witnessed as a Chelsea fan. We saw lots of outs, right? Basically the identity of the club has kind of changed. I mean, listen, I'm grateful that we've kept both of our wing backs though, or our full backs, or whatever system Poch rolls out, right? I think it's a back four, so I'll say full backs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Reece James and Chilwell staying has been massive. But I do want to get your quick thoughts on some of the outs that I'm going to bring up, right? Just, give me your quick thoughts and so we can kind of spend a bit more time on the ins. But N'Golo Kante.
I will always love him. Great player. I wish he had more of a send-off.
Yeah.
With the club, that's the one thing I didn't like with some of these send-offs. They didn't give them the true things that they deserved. He's a legend. His Champions League final performance, helping win the Premier League. Like, he was a great player, great guy. Still the cutest professional soccer player there will ever be.
Best smile in the Prem, bro.
Yeah, I hope he makes a ton of money in Saudi and enjoys it. So
he deserves it.
That one was It was a sad one to see, but it was definitely the time to go. Hopefully he can stay healthy too. So
yeah, we abused him a little bit. We relied on him a bit too much, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Mateo Kovacic going to Man City.
I really liked him. He was the one person in our midfield the past couple of years that could drive the ball, beat a guy or two.
Yeah.
But as I said, another problem with having all these good box-to-box midfielders when we play with one, he wasn't going to fit in next to Enzo. And I was more than happy to get 30 million for him. I was surprised that they got that much. I wish him the best at City. Hopefully he doesn't do too well. It'll be interesting to see. I think he's going to fall back to just like a squad player. I don't think he's going to replace Gundogan. I think he's going to get less time, maybe 15 starts. But I didn't really have a problem with how he left. Wasn't anything huge.
Yeah. Edu Mendy also going to Saudi.
Another guy, full respect for, won the Champions League, signed him for like 20 mil. He played great, and it was honestly just sad to see a decline and not able to excel. He also left. No qualms there. Kind of need to happen. Kind of was a little hoping that both of the guys in the goal would have their way out, but I think it was kind of hard to sell Kepa's contract to other teams and stuff like that. So, but as I said, went to Saudi, pretty professional person, he was very happy with his goodbye. Didn't record it like a month before. So I will always respect him. He was a huge part of that campaign, letting 4 goals in the entire Champions League. Chelsea had no business winning that year.
Yeah.
It was a good time to watch.
I think his best performance for me, or at least most memorable one, was when we were at the GTEC Stadium against Brentford, and he kept Brentford out. Yeah. Like, it made no sense. Like,
I think it's like that one save where that sticks in my mind from that game, where someone like hit a volley into the floor, and he just went straight over. But there were a bunch of more saves that game.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, for sure. All right, Kai Havertz going to Arsenal. Good business for us.
Yeah, how we got the same amount of money for him that we paid for him from Leverkusen, I don't know. What Arteta sees, also do not know. It wasn't meant to be. It would have been interesting to see, had he stayed, if he could have played Cam. But what's his position? I still don't know.
But that's the thing. Like, he
So
got played in so many different positions that I don't think he spent enough time in one position to figure out his true potential at Chelsea. Because listen, I think he's definitely a baller. You've seen it with Germany. He can score goals, right? There's a reason why we bought him as well, right?
I agree. Like, there's potential, but the finishing, like,
It's
no matter
frustrating.
what position you're in, like that, your finishing shouldn't be that poor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like
fair.
the decision making, he's not fast enough to play on the wings. Like, I think he's got some good vision. He's got a little flair to him, but I don't know. I for getting the same amount of money we bought him for, I'll happily. His wages definitely were worth it for that one goal in the Champions League final.
Yeah. All right. This transfer out, I think, hurt me the most, and it's just because of how long he was at the club. But I mean, I hope it works out for him. It sucks that I feel like his career changed after that injury in that friendly in America. But yeah, let's talk about Ruben Loftus-Cheek real quick.
Yeah, as great squad player, honestly, a little sad to see him go. I'm happy for him. He kind of need to do it for his next move, but seeing him play right wing back last season, I think a little stint at right center back every so often, not often, but like when he'd switch, sometimes Reece go up, he'd drop back, and then center mid. I think he had so much potential. It's sad to see him not be able to live up to it fully, because he was also not only great on the ball, but so physically. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
And he was just very fluid still. So I hope he does great at Milan. He was always a class act.
Agreed. All right. I'm gonna leave the snaky video one for the last one, but let's touch on the legend that we call Dave.
No, you couldn't ask anything else from him. We've used and exhausted him. Great to see. He had a great mentality, great captain for the past couple of years, and it was definitely his time, but I'm glad the club gave him a proper goodbye. I think Conte probably didn't deserve one just as good, but deserved one as well, but couldn't expect him to stay and play. He's just getting a little too old, but
Yeah.
he'll always be a legend.
He won everything at the club, man. I mean, why stay?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, go back to Spain.
yeah,
take the
enjoy your
family back.
retirement. You know, that sort of thing. Okay, Christian Pulisic, American player, American captain, U.S. captain, right? It never quite worked out for him, and I feel like the fitness had a big role to play in that.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of him as American. I see what he can do, and it was a shame with some injuries. All the managers would have rather seen Sterling get sold over him, because I always liked how he could beat guys one-on-one. Lockdown Pulisic is one of the best players. I'll say that again, and I hope he does well, not only for him, but also hopefully as a USA national team supporter. But it was a shame to see him struggle with injuries, struggle with managers. He needed to go for his future. I would have been curious to see where he would have gone if he stayed in the Prem, but I hope he does well at Milan, which I also don't know how they're going to use him, because he's not playing left wing with Rafael Leo over there. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, true. But I think if he's able to play with Giroud, you got one of the best hold-up strikers, I think, in Europe still. So I think he could thrive and develop a really good partnership. So it'll be curious to see how he develops. But yeah, best of luck to him. I mean, yeah, I left the best for last. I don't think there's any other outs that I really want to talk about other than Mr. Was supposed to be our next Lampard, but yeah, Mason Mount, man.
I liked him. He got a lot of stick when he was a Chelsea player, and I appreciate what he did. As a lot of people said, I don't think he's a cam. I think he's box-to-box midfielder at his best. He did definitely improve at cam. You could see, like, first couple of seasons get a little quicker, better dribbling, but I just don't think it had to go down the way it did. I'm happy with the money we got for him. Yeah. And as Pep says, I think Chelsea need to try to do this. Like, if the player wants to go, let him leave.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Don't try it. I like how it's a little annoying how Pep can do that because then they'll just next guy up and sign someone and it'll work.
Yeah.
So, but I think whatever he does over there definitely will be Chelsea. Twitter's definitely gonna have a day with him and Havertz if they don't do well.
Oh
so
yeah, for sure.
It'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, I hope he does decent, not too well, but I don't think it's gonna be one that's gonna be extremely regrettable because I think he's a great midfielder, but I don't think his upside is. I don't think his upside is nuts. But I just was disappointed to see how he handled it. I think that was another riff with the owners, and it just wasn't going to work out.
Yeah. Listen, that transfer video alone, it kind of just left a sour taste in my mouth. The whole 1 month early recording stuff. Like he did things for us, right? Assist for Kai for the winning goal. He helped us qualify for Champions League in that free kick versus Wolves. Like he had moments for us, right?
That single free kick right there won me a title. I think it was. I had him, Giroud, and Marcus Alonso that game against Wolves, and because we do playoffs. And one of them drew the foul on the free kick, then he hit the free kick, and that was like a 20-point swing.
Oh, jeez.
that will hold a place in my heart more than he will as a player.
Yeah, listen, on his day, when he was at Chelsea, he was, I want to say, round one value, but I'm not so sure what he's going to do at United. But this ain't a United pod, so we're going to continue with the transfers in, right? I mean, we saw a couple names like Leslie Ogochukwu and Axel Disasi. I'm sorry if I butchered those names. I've honestly just seen the news come out in the last few days. I've not looked up the pronunciation or YouTube or anything like that. But I really want to just talk about two people, right? Nicholas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku. Where do we start? Which one do you want to start with?
I'm gonna start with Nkunku because I think there's a lot to talk about him. First of all, I was disappointed in how little him and Jackson played together. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping he's not playing at striker. I'm hoping he figures it out at Cam. I don't think Poch is a huge fan of him at Cam yet because there are some clips of that you see. I saw Poch just yelling at him, like being like drop back. He was pushing the lines, but like. You haven't seen a 4-4-2 in a while. That's like under 8 soccer. So it would have been interesting. He's another person kind of like, as I saw you wrote, a little bit like Timo, where it's like get in between the lines, pretty direct. So I think he does have good on the ball skills. So it'll be really interesting to see where he plays. I think he will play.
Yeah.
I think he will play Cam, left wing. Hopefully not striker, but I think he will play some striker. But I'm interested to see how that goes out. He's definitely an asset, but I think we'll talk about it when we get purely to that section. I think he's getting a little overhyped.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because in my article, I had him as my first player to avoid, right? He's quite comparable with Timo Werner in terms of shooting percentage, shots, non-penalty goals, non-penalty XG, expected assists, open play shots. Like there's a couple other categories, but we all know how that Timo Werner move panned out. And granted, he moved during like COVID, and it's a foreign country and all that sort of stuff. Like, and yes, Nkunku, scored 20 goals, 2 seasons ago. Last season, he was Bundesliga top scorer. I get all of that. But if you watch the goals that he's been scoring in preseason, they're all tap-ins. And, I mean, sure, you could say maybe he's like the perfect poacher and he has the eye for goal and all that. But there's something about his play that doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence that, I'm not sure he's going to get a lot of ghost points. I feel like he could be a little bit goal dependent. I'm happy to be proven wrong in this case because it's just going to be a win-win situation. But
no, I've seen some clips of like a lot. He's very good. The one thing he has that Timo didn't have is he can dribble the ball better, beat some guys one-on-one, but didn't see much of that at all in preseason. So he did have the one good goal he had was when he rounded the keeper, but I don't think
but the keeper rushed out, surely. Like,
you're not going to also get those opportunities.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like Prem teams aren't playing that high of a line most of the time, so it'll be really interesting to see what happens. I'm fine. I mean, they were tap-ins, but one or two like a quick reactionary finish, which weren't seeing in the past couple of years. So I'm not too low on him, but with the recent injury as well, I think let him fall a little.
Yeah, agreed. All right. The player I'm most excited to talk about now, all episode, Nico Jackson, man. Listen, I didn't know what we had until I watched the preseason, and I was like, yo, who is this kid?
Yeah, no, the rumors with like buying Vlahovic are just killing me because I just don't want to see any competition. I want to see Jackson up there getting 35 starts and really developing because there were questions about his finishing, and his finishing has looked very good in preseason. Like a couple firm strikes in on goal, which not seeing that in the past couple of years. And not only like his build up play has been great, the hustle, like the one clip where he like bodied two guys and took it down to the end line, and I forget who it was, but put a great tackle on him and caused the corner. But not only that, his personality I love. Like it seems like him and Mudryk have gotten along great, and he's just really has high aspirations for himself. You saw him at the Dortmund game get pissed when he missed that goal or two, and it's just like I think he's going to hold himself accountable. I think he'll be a very good player.
Yeah, you love to see that hunger in anyone. And I remember, I think he had scored a goal or something like that, and then he looked back to Maatsen and told Maatsen, yo, trust me. He was like mouthing it, right? Yeah, I love to see that hunger, man. He's got pace, he's got trickery, he can dribble past players, his link-up play is brilliant, he's got quick feet for a big guy too. Like, I feel like he has a little bit of everything. And listen, I don't want to jinx it because I know Chelsea Football Club has not had a great history with strikers. We seem to apparently ruin them.
Don't give him the 9. Don't give him the 9.
Exactly, right? Keep the what is he wearing? A 46 or something like that? some wild number.
God only knows.
Yeah, some wild number. But I mean, he had his breakout season last season in La Liga, right? I think in 38 appearances he had 13 goals. So he's definitely got something special about him, right? That's like a goal every 3 games. I'm gonna take that.
9 goals in the last 8 games also. So
yeah, and he's been our best player in preseason as well. So yeah, I'm honestly very excited to see what he's gonna bring. And yeah, like you touched on Vlahovic, I hope it doesn't happen because I'm expecting Nico to be our striker for the rest of the season, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've kind of spent, I mean, listen, I know that transfer time is really, really long, but that's what, when you talk about Chelsea, we've had so many ins, we've had so many outs. Like,
I got one more for you.
Yeah, what's up?
What do you think's going to happen with Chalobah?
That's a weird one, man. Honestly, I don't understand it because I feel like he's useful to keep around. He's a good utility player to have. I don't see the point, especially with the Wesley injury. Thiago's old. He could pull his hamstring any minute. Like, I don't know.
I didn't love I'm not going to butcher his name, but I didn't love signing another right center back.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I would have rather seen Thiago Silva start 20 and let Chalobah start the other couple.
Yeah.
But I've heard he may be on his way out, and someone's been throwing around like 40 mil. So if we get 40 mil, I'll take it. Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen. And another guy that's been a great squad player, great personality, like. Before he was injured, he's slightly. I think he's got like a knock right now, and like before the game, like you see him on Twitter, like "Good luck, boys," and it's just like he has the Chelsea in his blood. So I'm hoping he can stay and surpass and at least be the backup.
Yeah, listen, I don't want listeners to think that, oh, we're just being cynical fans, you know, or you're saying bye to like players that have stayed. But when you've been a Chelsea fan as long as we have, and you've gone through both a Roman era and now starting a Bully era, you've learned not to get attached to players, like, or managers. Like, we would love to have, you know, the continuity, right? The way Pep does, the way Klopp does, you know, with their assets. But the model that we've had at the club has still brought us glory and silverware and a reputation in not only England but Europe. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, football is football, but it's also a business for some people in this game, right? Which is a brutal way to look at it, but yeah, so it goes, man. So it goes. All right, let's talk about expected formation starting 11. If the season starts tomorrow, who do you think Poch is going to roll out?
4-2-3-1. Cowell, Thiago Silva, Reece James, Chilwell. I think Kepa's can start at least the first 5. We'll see if Sanchez picks. If Kepa lacks, I think he'll get swapped. Supposedly, I think we still have Brighton's old goalkeeper coach that Sanchez was his best under. Hopefully something can emasculate there and pick him up, because I like how he's taller, bigger. So if Kepa's not playing well, I think he'll get the hook pretty quickly. I don't think Poch is going to entertain it very well. His distribution isn't great. So then I'm thinking, as of now, Enzo playing the 8, then it's going to be interesting because last game against Dortmund, Gallagher played the 6. And I think everyone was saying he played pretty well. And I watched it. I didn't notice anything crazy, but so I'm going to say to start the season, if there's no CDM signing, which I think there will be, Gallagher's going to be there, which is, I'd say Santos could be, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyways, I'll let you mention the lineup, and then I'll give my thoughts about that pick.
So it's either Santos or Gallagher there. I don't think fantasy-wise either playing CDM are going to be a big thing. Then also, Nkunku healthy, I would be putting him at cam, but unhealthy, I'm going to say they're going to start the season with Chukwuemeka playing the cam. And then I think it's going to be Mudryk and Sterling to start the season with Jackson up top. We'll see. I think the Nkunku injury is going to be about a month from what I've seen. I think there's still a lot to figure that out. But the one thing I'd be eyes open, is seeing if I've liked Ian Maatsen in attack. So I don't think he's going to start in the team, but I would rather see him or Madueke on the right over Sterling, but I think Sterling's going to start off the season on the right with Mudryk on the left.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with, I would say 10 of those players. I'm not sure about Connor. I got that Connor is one of our boys and all that sort of stuff, but I don't know. I feel like he has the sloppiness in him. He can give the ball away. He doesn't have that top quality that you kind of need if you want to get into that European spot. Listen, I know he had a great season at Crystal Palace and all that, but he was the main man there. He's not going to be the main man here.
Yeah, I was shocked they didn't accept the 40 mil bid from West Ham for him.
Yeah, bro.
So.
Agreed. I'd rather see if Cassidy stays or Andre stays, I'd rather see them play next to Enzo, just have they just have a bit more about them, I think. I don't know, Connor, let's see, again, one of those situations where I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I'm happy that we kind of agree on that front 4 sort of situation, right? So
I think it's a 50-50 Gallagher and Santos right now, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think either of them are going to be starting come day one. I think some CDM's going to be worked out. We're going to get hosed by Brighton and pay 100 mil. So I don't want to talk about Brighton, and I don't want to talk about Inter right now. So
yeah. All right, AFCON and Asian Cup. Are we losing anyone? I think maybe
Jackson.
One. Yeah, Jackson, Senegal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it. I don't think that's a big deal. I think you can slap in Nkunku up top for a couple games. I don't think if Broja's healthy, I don't think he's going to play a major role. But maybe slap him up top if Nkunku does well can. But I don't see Broja getting much time either. I think Jackson will be out 3 or 4 games. And I don't think it's worth changing your draft based on AFCON.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, fair enough. So, for example, Mo Salah will still be a top 3 pick for you.
Well.
Ooh.
I actually have the 3rd pick in my draft, so.
Oh wow! I mean, we could save that for the end if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right. Let's do that then. We keep the listeners with a little tease,
As a league that plays with playoffs in my home league, it's a lot different because you can't really care too much about AFCON. Looking long term, City assets those last 3 weeks when they're 20 points ahead. They can't do it. Cole Palmer is a great asset to have for the playoffs. Someone like him. So it's interesting to see the difference, but usually I'd like to focus on like hopefully last season I was finished second by and I was looking at playoff matchups 10 weeks before even. So it's a bit different. I think if you're looking long term and it's just standings, maybe AFCON affects it a little, but I still don't think you should draft someone else because of it. It's less than people think.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's get into the Fantrax side of things. Better late than never. Who's your first pick from Chelsea?
I'm going a little bold here. I'm going Jackson.
I like that.
I'm still curious to see where the goals come from. I don't see the ghost points either. I don't see the ghost points out of Nkunku. I don't quite see the ghost points yet out of Mudryk. A lot of unfinished passes, a couple of dribbles that he may get points, I'll talk about the defenders once we're there, but I think he will hopefully can get double digits goals. We'll see. And I think it'll be 10 or 11 points per game. Kind of jumped on a hype train and probably can pick him too early, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Listen, I got him in my league start of 5th round. Nkunku and Sterling went before him. I was very happy with that.
My problem is, as I said, I have the 3rd pick, so I have a pick at the end of the 5th round. He's not going to be there. Do I take him 4th? So I have a lot of thinking to do in the next 36 hours before my draft.
Yeah. Is this a community league?
This one is just my home league.
Home league, right.
That's my most serious league. Then my friends and I won our Genie League last year, so we're promoted to the 4th division.
Congrats.
So
last season you were saying that you were like, I hope I win the league so I can come and let these guys know.
So it honestly, I'll talk a little shit like that. I think that league was not too hard to win compared to my home league. Playoffs, I think, are also a very different thing in it, but my friends and I, it was 4 of us that just were okay. There was a good bit of the season where we were in 5th and we weren't setting lineups for 4 or 5 weeks straight, and we're are they going to message us telling us to get more active? And then we're okay, let's sit up. We went through, went on a huge winning streak. We traded, I was really pushing for this, but we traded Bowen and got Elise, and Elise had a nuts end of season. And the rigged cup they have with all the 144 teams, we lost in the semis.
Oh,
so
damn.
We're in the final 4 of that.
Yeah.
So, it was a good run, but I'm hoping we're still in the slow draft for that right now, so hopefully we can wipe house there.
Yeah. All right. Good luck. We'll talk about that stuff in the advice segment later on, but what's your next 3 picks from Chelsea?
I'm going to have to go with Nkunku as second. I just think the starts he's going to get are good, and I think he's going to be Poch's slight little baby to play in there each game. It'll be interesting. I'm not set on him yet. I'm not set on him whatsoever, but that's my second pick out of them. For my third, I'm going to wrap Reece James and Chilwell into one. I think Chilwell has potential because from what I've been seeing, combined with Reece James' injury, James has been staying back a little more. You can look at the heat maps and Chilwell's been getting up. The one goal Chilwell scored was disgusting.
Yeah.
Great assist from, I think it was Angelo. Great assist.
Yeah.
And I think Chilwell will get into some high spaces. I don't think that either of these guys are going to reach the point that they did when they're at 5 at the back. So don't jump on them too early. And I'd say mid to end of third, look at them. I think I have been surprised with the consistency of Chilwell starting. I was expecting to see Maatsen start a bit at left back, but I think Chilwell's locked in almost more than Reece James, but I think both of them should get at least 25 starts staying healthy. I'm hoping 10, 11 points per game for them. So maybe not quite, but 10 points per game would be happy getting them. That's another position I have early round 3, late round 4. I don't think in my league they're going to fall to there, but I think round 4, round 5, Chilwell. If you get Chilwell in round 5, that's great value, but I think mid round 4, take in Reece James, late round 3. And because they're both on set pieces, I'm pretty sure still.
Yeah. I mean, he got an assist for Thiago Silva's goal in preseason. I mean, if you look at in terms of his like corner stats for previous seasons, I think in 2021 he took 32 corners, only behind Reece James 33, Mason Mount 126. In 2021-22 season, he took the 4th most corners, behind Mount, Alonso, Ziyech. All 3 players are not there anymore. And then in 22-23, he took the most corners, 52 of them, and Reece took 21. So I think he definitely does have a high ceiling, just as much as Reece, but I think in terms of the probability of him getting those returns is higher than Reece. And that's the way it seems as it's developing throughout preseason and stuff like that. So,
especially with with Reece's nursing the injury, I think they're going to kind of do what. Well, a lot of people were like last year, Reece James can go play right center back. He's going to play right center back. That was dumb. That didn't really end up happening much.
Yeah.
But I think they're kind of doing the same, where you're going to nurse his injury a little, keep him back, and hopefully we can see him get to health, because he's one of the best defenders in the world when healthy. So, but I think Chilwell will be pressing up a bit more.
Yeah, agreed. So. And who's the third? Well, I guess 4th in that sense, right?
I'm gonna go with Mudryk. I think he's the only potential. He's got some. I like drafting with some upside, so I think he's got some. I would have said Madueke would have been second for me here if he played preseason. But now there's just so many questions with him not playing preseason, Sterling on the right. But I'm going to say Mudryk. I don't think he's going to start every game. I think he'll start like 2/3 of games. But if his speed and I think his finishing is getting better, if he can control that, I'm liking to see where that can go. And I hope he does well.
Yeah. All right. Hidden gem. What have you got up your sleeve?
So I got 2. My one is going to say Ian Maatsen, if he can possibly get starting at cam or like right wing, left wing. So keep an eye out.
Anywhere he wants, man.
Yeah, like Chilwell gets injured, play him at left back. So keep an eye out for him. I think he'll get drafted late, maybe draft him late. Another guy where be happy to drop, but check lineups each when they come out, and if he's starting, I'd pick him up, because why he's playing up there, I don't know, but he's done a great job. What prompted that? Don't know. He's done a great job. I liked what he did last season for Burnley with Company. And then my other hidden gem, a little different note, is Lewis Hall. If he goes on loan, take a punt with him 15th, 16th round, and if he goes on loan, I think he could be a decent asset.
Yeah, I think he'd be more than decent. I think, what was it? It was during Frank's tenure, right? We saw the best of him. He had the best points per game, around 12.5, scored around 50 Fantrax points. He was basically a ghost monster.
Yeah, and the problem is some of that was like left wing back. Is he a true left back? I don't know. Some people say he can play in the midfield. I haven't liked how little playing time he got in preseason. So I think loan is the place for him to go for now, because he's not beating Chilwell out yet for left back. We have Maatsen, Cucurella. You don't need him to rot away on the bench. Like, give him some time somewhere else, and hopefully he can develop.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Shall we move on to the final segment?
It works for me.
Okay, so Patrick, you've been around since the Target days. You've been playing this game for a while. You've won some leagues in the community. So I want to pick your brain as an experienced Fantrax manager in terms of how you do trades, fab, just general advice for both new and old managers in our fabulous community. So have you had experience with trading draft picks before?
Last season I did this. Our league, my home league, does it a lot. So I haven't had as much time to do extensive draft research, and I haven't traded any this year. Last year I did, and I regretted it. So I haven't done it this year, but I think there's definitely places that you can look to get into. I think top 5 picks, if you can get in there, then there's like, you gotta go look at where the big gaps of skill is. Like top 5 is a good 5 to be in. Then 6 through 11 is good. 11 through 15 is good. And after 15, it kind of hits a drop off. 15 to 21, still got some solid players. I'm at 22 and I'm like, who's falling there? In Cuckoo injury, who am I going to have to reach for? So you want to gap players into groups of where the good picks are and try to trade with that into those, whether it's like back, if you're early in that, trade back. Also, look at the people who are fans of, we have a huge Spurs fan. Try like exploit some people who want their players at different positions. We had a Liverpool fan trade up for Trent, who I know you're big at. Well, I think it's for Trent. So look for those. Be willing to trade. I think trading back also, don't hype beast and trade up too much, but I definitely, in your rankings, like look at where the gaps of skill is, where these like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 players are, and trade into those positions.
Yeah. I think in terms of like, if you want to trade draft picks, I feel like right now, drafting at the end of the snake is actually a pretty nice spot. I think after like the 3rd position, it's a bit of a free for all. It's a bit harder, I think, to kind of decide.
Yeah.
I just have a like having back to back picks. It feels like you have more control of the pool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So in terms of trading with other managers, do you look at form, fixtures? Do you analyze your manager? Do you analyze like maybe assets having a history or record of injuries, that sort of stuff? Like, what do you look at?
I should probably retire from trading because I know you have another question about this, but I'll mention it now. Game week 3 or 4. I had a great midfielders like ASM, I had Dewsbury Hall, Morgan Gibbs White, and Solly March. I drafted both of them. Solly March was like 11 points per game. Tarkowski was 10. I traded Solly March for Tarkowski. And seeing him and the previous season, when Luis Diaz came in, I traded him away. I picked him up off waivers, traded him away for Trossard, and that made me miss playoffs.
Wow.
So it's a lot of, you kind of gotta, sometimes I thought I was cashing out on a high with Solly March.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing where I think you definitely want to watch the games, see what's happening. Maybe the change in management helped March get better, but I'm going to stay away from trading for the most part. How some people do that works is definitely look to buy low. Look at fixtures, because you can kind of get a guy out on a high, and definitely guys that aren't solidified starting, if they get a good run in games, determine whether that's going to be permanent, or if not, ship them out. But I need to stay away from trading, focus on the waiver wire and drafting, because trading's never been my forte.
Okay, let's quickly talk about your fab budgeting experience. Like, how do you usually deal with your fab, and what's your advice, I guess, for other managers?
So this is my first time in my home league doing it. We used it in my league, in the Genie League last year, but first time in the home league. And the Genie League, we picked up like Dennis for 50, because he was great on Watford, and then like Mudryk for 30. So we were not using fab whatsoever. And I don't think you should, unless it's a really established name, don't go for the big names. I think it's the first couple of weeks you should splash some on getting the guys that you didn't, like no one thought would start, and then they are starting. And I think that's when to spend it. Spending it all at once is not gonna benefit you unless you really hit. And I feel like most winter transfers like that, or like end of end of summer transfers don't really hit that well. So I would use it sporadically, keep some, and if you want, trade some. But I just think I haven't had too much experience with it. But what I have, we splashed big and then didn't really use it for else. So I think usually the big transfers, trading for it there, like I'm not supportive of that.
Okay. Now let's touch on. I mean, you kind of did touch on the best and worst trade, so I'm not gonna let you rehash that. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's speaking of questions, like you said a little while ago. I did actually get a question DM to me specifically for you. So. His name on Twitter, I don't know if I should keep this. His surname is Crosby. All right, so I'll put it anonymous a little bit. I think you know who it might be. He said when I interview Patrick on the pod tomorrow, ask him how he feels about CJ having a better legacy than him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, he's won the division once. I've won twice, and our third place game, we play each other in the third place game, and I beat him. So I think he should wait on that. But that's just a little banter. And what's funny is he had Holland and a bunch of City assets, and they were getting the double game week 37. So in my league, I threw the last week. I was in first, and I lost on purpose to drop down to second, so I didn't have to play him. And we both lost our games because the other two people had big double game weeks. And then in the final week, the score of the final was like 80 to 80 around, and stat corrections are which made one person surpass the other. So that was pretty hype. And then the third place game was like 140 to 130. So I thought we had better teams than the people in the finals. But had I not thrown that week, he would have beat the guy that I lost to, and he would have won it all. So that really annoyed him. But
well, it's lovely to see good banter, man. And I appreciate. I'm assuming these are your boys. They listen to the pod and all that. So yeah, I appreciate all the support, the love, and all that.
He's probably the main guy that you see tweeting some
bullshit,
random stuff. But yeah. So, but I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things that some people in the Trax community have takes on, and most of the time we can agree on some crazy takes. Yeah. Like, I'll put one out there. I don't think the guy Soboslai on Liverpool should be touched. I think he will be like 8 points per game. But there's a lot of different opinions I have, and that's not for me to share here.
I mean, I heard from like Ross, my other Banter Boys correspondent, that he's taking some of the set pieces from Trent. So I don't know if that is also a route to points for him. Is
he a lefty?
I feel like he's a righty.
Because if he's not a lefty, there's just no way Trent's getting taken off free kicks.
He was taking the left-sided corners with his right foot.
Okay.
So in swinging, right? So there's potential. But honestly, my gut is telling me I feel like McAllister's going to ghost better, and he's been going later in rounds. But that's just me.
I don't know. I've seen people take him second, third round. I think that's outrageous.
To each their own. Okay, excellent. I think now what I want to ask you finally is, what are your final pieces of advice for the community, even for like new managers to the game, lessons that you've learned over the past few seasons that you will be taking into next season to maybe hope and try and improve your game, etc.
I think drafting, you gotta go for, I don't draft CDMs, I don't draft center backs. I think you can pick CDMs and center backs up that are slightly comparable. I like drafting wing backs, I like drafting wingers, I like drafting guys that ghost, but don't let that get to you too much. Still look for opportunities for goals, because I'd have weeks last year where I'd get 90 points, not a single goal scored. And it's just like, you need a balance of direct guys that can score, and you need a balance of ghost points. So I'd say get a happy balance there. And then I think in newer managers, waivers, even if you're not picking guys up a ton, that's where you learn the most, understanding, look at the recent form for each guys, and you should see, like, if you're in a new league, waivers win you the league. Once you get further up, trading wins it. And personally, I'm too scared to trade. So I think trading is a good way to really shift the league. So if you want to trade, that's a great thing to take the risks on. Hasn't worked out well for me, but I'd say draft guys with upside. There's no point in drafting a guy like Rodri. I don't think he's going to surpass what he does. As I had Morgan Gibbs-White last year in my home league, we have a slightly different scoring. He was like 12.2 points per game. I love him. I've been following him since he was like at Wolves before he went to Sheffield, and I just don't see him surpassing that. So I think you want guys that can improve upon. So don't go with the guys that have hit their ceiling early.
All right. Love that. Very interesting takes, man. Okay. Those are the picks. That is the pod. Listen, I know it's been a long one, but it's Chelsea Football Club. It's our club, right? I could talk about this probably for another hour with Patrick. And yeah, it's been the longest of this episode of the series, and I don't even care. Like, because I had a great time, right?
Well, the one thing we were stashing for later, who should I take third? Because
True.
Bruno and Haaland will be off the board, and it's all the KDB slander is. A lot of people in my league aren't falling for it.
Like, so the thing is, listen, personally for me, I love Trent. I think Trent is definitely up there, and it's an unpopular opinion. I've said it before. I think he's a top 3 player. But now knowing that he's sharing corners with Slavosai, I worry about his potential a little bit. I feel like it takes a bit of a dent, and it maybe drops a spot or two for me. And listen, we know KDB's quality, right? And I think, like, now that Pep has finally gotten that monkey off his back, Pep has always been about secure the Premier League. The goal is always to win the Premier League first. I think he's still going to try and put out, his best performance for the season again. And if KDB is fit, he might not start the first few games, which is okay, right? If you can find someone to fill that void, and if you trust in Pep's ability to keep his man fit, because listen, they've lost a lot of talent, right? Gundogan's gone, Riyad Mahrez is gone. Sure, they brought in like Kovacic and stuff like that, but in terms of main creativity, like they're probably going to use Bilva as a utility guy, Foden and Grealish as maybe main wingers, but someone to feed Haaland, and I don't know if Julian is going to be able to do that 100%.
Yeah.
So it's a gamble. It's honestly a gamble.
It's tempted to handcuff. Like, I think I'll go KDB and maybe handcuff him with someone, but I feel like taking like my major handcuff right now is Bernardo Silva or Alvarez, but I feel like Alvarez is going 5th or 6th round, so it's kind of steep to take a handcuff like that.
Yeah,
but also you got to think about, like, if you're getting 28 starts from KDB, putting up 3 more points per game than you're getting a guy at 35 starts, like what's better or not? And I'm just not. So it's like Salah. I'm contemplating. I'm not sold on Saka. I don't think he's reached that level yet. I think with Champions League, it's going to be a whole different ball game. I don't think he's going to do as well. So I think I'll go KDB, but definitely an interesting thing. I think Trent's at that level. I think Salah's at that level. Bruno, Haaland, KDB. But everyone's been high on Saka, and I'm not huge on that either.
What about Maddison? Genie's been really high on Maddison during that early.
We got him 11th in our draft for the Genie League. I'm not going to take him third. Like, I think I respect the pick. I think he's. It seems like from his Twitter he likes to do some things to.
He's wild, yo.
And he does it. And I think I'm pretty sure he had a nuts season last year, and he did well in his fantasy leagues. So there's a method to the madness. But I think third overall, like a Tottenham player besides Harry Kane. This would easily be Harry Kane if he wasn't leaving.
Yeah, 100%.
But
100%.
You can't risk a pick that high on Harry Kane.
Yeah. The drama is too much for me, yo. Yeah, man. Genie's a crazy bastard, and I absolutely love that guy. But I think it's a toss up between, like you said, KDB, maybe Trent. I think Saka, it's potentially there, but again, now they're in Champions League and stuff. I don't know how they're gonna prioritize that. And there have been games where Saka maybe can see the slight dip in his ghost points and stuff like that, but it's still not a bad option to have, honestly, right?
I would just go Salah being in the Europa League. I didn't talk about this, but also like Europa League, Champions League, big thing to consider. And look at when drafting like what you're going forward, mid, forward, because in my position, I should be going forward, mid, and I don't think I will, and I think I'll regret that. So Salah, I think Ali, Isaac will all be off the board by the time it gets back to me. So I think it'll be like KDB, and then God only knows who my full one will be.
I'm gonna discuss my current draft. I'm in second pick in the IGL, but we'll touch on that off air because I don't want to keep the listeners too long because I want to make sure that they get into the next episode. So listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to another Inside Track series. This has been Patrick and me talking everything Chelsea. I didn't make that rhyme on purpose, but yeah. It was such a great chat. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your input. It was a great chat as always. And listen, we're gonna keep in touch. We're gonna bring you back on the pod because I do want to talk shop about my own club as well. I just enjoy doing it all the time. But yeah, listeners, stay tuned. We've still got clubs coming your way. I think the next one is Newcastle. It might be a re-record because we had some audio issues, but we've also got Forest, Luton, Bournemouth, and we might be getting our Burnley signing. Fingers crossed. We're almost there. Season's right around the corner. Good luck. Stay tuned. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.